it's time. Time to declutter my eye stuff. Now, will this be a true declutter, or will this be mostly me swatching things? We'll have to see. I'm going to start with the most fun part, which is palettes. Problem is, I don't really want to get rid of any palettes, but let's see what we can do. But let me tell you one thing I am going to do. I am going to try to clean these. So let's start with this Naked palette. I got this dusting tool, which is for like cleaning carpet. And I don't know if this is going to do anything, but it is kind of doing something. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's bringing up some dust. May not be getting rid of all the embedded makeup, but it's certainly better than nothing. Well, I may have just scraped off the actual fuzziness rather than the dust, but I do think it looks a little better. Okay, look. I recognize that some things are not going to be fixed. There's a lot of places where the fuzziness is missing. I probably just scraped off a lot of gold here, and there's some like areas that are just beyond my skill level, but much better. I also have an idea. honestly, I do think it looks a little better. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so now let's talk about this palette, finally. This is the Naked palette, the original Naked palette from Urban Decay, and I think I got it when it originally came out. I don't remember when that was, but probably 10 or 15 years ago, so I've had it forever. And I'm definitely keeping this one, but I don't use everything in it. I mostly, you can see I used Virgin up a long time ago as a sort of brow highlight color. Now I sometimes use this Sin color. I use Half Baked a lot. It's a really nice gold. And I used to use Dark Horse a lot, but nowadays it's like a little bit too shimmery for me. But I'll sometimes use Creep and Hustle. Oops. Hustle. Another good color is Buck. I keep doing it on. A color that I think I'd like to try to use more often is Sidecar. Look how pretty that is. It's like a gorgeous taupe, sparkly taupe color. And maybe Smog too, though it might be a little bit too shimmery. I think we'll do this Smoky Naked palette next. This one's also gross and dirty, but it should be a lot easier to clean. So let's begin on that. Okay, it may not be perfect, but it's certainly better. Let's see what's inside the Naked Urban Decay Smoky palette. Oh, it's broken. Okay, that's certainly better. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. Here's the inside. So this is another one I use pretty often, and so even though it's broken, I'm gonna keep it. But I really like this color 13, which is a good, really light, like high brow highlighting color. I use Combust a lot. It's pretty much, it's very close to the color of my skin, just a little bit like peachier. It's a little darker, but Whiskey also is a really good like color for like a smoky eye. And then sometimes I use Dirty Sweet, although I think I prefer that gold color. I don't remember what it was called, but the gold one from the regular Urban Decay Naked palette. This one, High, is also really pretty, sparkly, creamy color. So next up, let's do this one. This one is absolutely horrifically filthy. This used to be purple and now somehow it's like grayish brown. Honestly, I don't know if anything is going to fix this, but let's do our best. Horrendous. Okay, is it fixed? No. Is it better? Marginally. And before anybody comes at me for not taking care of my palettes, you would deny me the extreme fun of trying to clean them. Also, whose decision was it to make palettes fuzzy? They literally absorb makeup. This is just embedded with makeup. Anyway, okay, let's look at the inside. Pretty dirty. So this is another palette I'm going to keep because it's amazing. I really like this color, this pink, but I don't use it very often. So I'm going to try to use this pink more often. Same thing with this pink here. I like that, Love. As you can probably tell, I use this one called Dreamer a lot. And I use this dark purple. And I really like this purple Celestial. Now let's get on to one that I think I will declutter. And that would be this guy, the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. And this is a good palette. I don't really have any complaints. And I have used this color now and then. And actually, I take it back. I'm keeping it. You know why? Because this is like the lightest color that I have. And when I really want a dramatic highlight, this is what I will go to. So I think I am going to hold on to this, but only really because of that color and this color. Sometimes I use this one as well. But it is a really good palette. I just have so many other palettes. But now that I know I'm keeping it, I guess that means I have to clean it. Now that only really did a marginal amount because it's so scratched up, but it does look a bit better. Now I think I should finally get into my ColourPop palettes. I have 5 of them. And do I want to get rid of any of them? No, I do not. So will I get rid of any of them? Probably not. But let's look at them. First of all, I've been cleaning over this one, so I got this one absolutely filthy. Let's clean it up. So what do we have here? So many colors. Okay, look at the exciting colors in here. This one is so pretty. It's a gold called Shine Bright. What else? This pink prismatic, look at that. That is amazing. Gorgeous. Atelier, this pink. Oh, are you kidding me? That's stunning. Nouveau. Oh, amazing. You can see I've tried to use Lucky Charm a few times. This one up here. It's really sparkly and it doesn't, I'm not very good at it, so it's never been quite a success for me. This is another one I love. Look at that. Oh my God. It's orange sparkles. Have you ever seen anything so magical? Look at that. Stunning. Fantasyland, so pretty. And this one, which is probably my favorite of all of the colors, but I probably will never use it because it just wouldn't go with my skin tone. But look at that, big smile, sparkly yellow. I'm in awe. I don't actually use this palette very much because I don't use a lot of color. I feel like I would have when I was younger, but I feel like I just look not as good with color anymore. But I'm definitely keeping this because I didn't even notice this one. Look at that. There's so many gorgeous colors in here that I'm absolutely keeping this palette. My next biggest color pop one, this one, Truly Madly Deeply. This one was a gift and pretty recently, so I am also keeping this one. I'm just going to be honest and tell you, I'm keeping all the color pop palettes. This is so cool. Again, I've sort of tried to use the glitter ones and have never succeeded. I just end up getting glitter everywhere and having to redo the look. But I have successfully used this one, Mr. Sandman. What? Look at that. I can't tell if it's in focus or not, but oh my God. That's so cool. It's like a purple with like blue shine on top of it. And then this boring one, I've definitely used this, Matter of Fact. And then this pretty one, it's like pink with gold sparkles. I like using this one too. I've also definitely used this Too Much. It's like a purple with sparkles. Purple's not always my favorite color, but I have brown eyes and so it works pretty well with my eyes, so I do use it a lot. Here's another color pop palette I have, Heavy Petal. This one's also a gift. So cool. It has a sort of similar but not identical color story to this one, Truly Madly Deeply. You can see these two are quite similar. This one's Too Much and this one's Feeling Good, but let's compare them here. You can see they really look quite similar on my finger, but this one's a little more sparkly and the sparkles are like a bluish purple, whereas this one, Too Much, the sparkles are actually gold. So they're a little different. They also have these similar sort of tan colors. If I can put some of them on my hand here, it might be easier than my finger. Floral Feels here and Freshly Cut in this palette. And then in this palette here, Lay Low, which is sort of in between those two in intensity. And then we have some more cool toned ones like Golden Gate Bridge. Sorry, I got some of that purple one in there. Golden Gate Bridge. This is Made to Last. And then this pale one, Matter of Fact. In this palette as well to do a few swatches because it also has a very similar color palette. This is another one that I'm going to keep. There's really no way to get them all in there. This one's called the So Fly palette, and it has some really, I've been using this as one of my day-to-day palettes. This one is great for like an inner corner. That's Damselfly. Let's compare that to Potting Mix here. Those two are very similar. I'm not quite sure that I really see any of a difference, if I'm gonna be honest. Maybe this one's a little bit like yellower. Yeah, and maybe this one's a little darker. I also often use Dragonfly, is that what it's called? Dragon Tail here on my lids. But it's very similar to a couple of these other ones. This one's Made to Last on the Madly Deeply palette, and this one is Golden Gate Bridge. I often use on my lids Skydive, which is a pretty gold color, and as a sort of highlighter on the top of my lids, I sometimes use Flight Path. I also really like using this one, FYI, which is sort of duochrome. I don't know if it's technically duochrome, but sometimes it looks just sort of pinkish, and then other times it has a bit of a greenish cast to it. Finally, I really like Speedy. It's a pretty peach color with some sparkles. Sort of similar to this one, Pollen, but Pollen is much yellower. Okay, I have one more color pop palette, and this is it, all Amethyst. This is also one that I use as an everyday palette, but more for like nighttime or if I'm seeing friends or something, rather than when I'm at work, because it's a little bit more dramatic. Generally, I will use Royal Affair in the sort of outer corner of my eyes. It's like a dark purple. And then this one, Amulet, is great for the lids. And as a highlight, I use this one, Brilliant. Sometimes I'll use this one for the lid also, Sunbird. We can compare, do some swatches of some of these purples. Sunbird, Trigonal, Selfie, Nouveau, and Express. They're all really pretty. This one's a little bit more like a light lilac color. So that's the ColourPop palettes. Now I have a couple other palettes left. 4 of them. This Sephora Color Shifter is the most recent. This topper is pretty cool. It's I think it's supposed to be mimicking that type of shadow that they have in the like rose quartz palette. Can't really see because I've used some of it already, but it has this chunkiness with different colors in it. But I will say that this palette doesn't have quite the same pigmentation as the ColourPop palettes. just don't get as much color. Now next we have these three. Let's start with this one. I don't know what this is. Oh wow, that's pretty. This is Estee Lauder Glam. Do these have colors? Yeah, they do. I mean names. Oh no, their names are Eyeshadow 1, Eyeshadow 2. I clearly haven't used these very often. If I remember correctly, it's because they aren't very pigmented. So that one's not bad. Maybe I just need to try them. Looks like I've tried to use this one before. Yeah, that one didn't come out. It looks better on camera, actually. That one's not bad. But I do think for that one, I have better ones in the ColourPop palette. That one, not much came out there. That one's a little disappointing. Looks really pretty in the pan, but it's sort of cloudy. Looks like it should have some iridescence to it. Now we have these three. Let's do them all at once. This one looks the best, I think. I definitely have better purples in the ColourPop palette. And then this one also is pretty patchy, this blue. Maybe I will consider decluttering this or seeing if somebody wants it, because it's not bad, but I just don't see myself necessarily pulling it out when I have so many other options that are better. But the palette itself, I mean, the color selection, they are really pretty in the pan. Next we have the Too Faced Forbidden Fruitcake. This is clearly a Christmas one. I don't know from when. Oh, right. This one. This is another one that I don't use very often, but I kind of wish I did. Look at this, is very pretty. I think it's because, actually don't know why. I feel like I could make this work as a, like I could get a whole eye look out of this. Maybe one of these on the lids. This one's a little bit loose. Like, I'm not sure how well that would work. And then maybe this brown in the outer corners. This would work well on the lids too, this green. That's really cool. And then a sort of highlight color. So I should give this one another try. Maybe I'll put it out on my daily makeup area and see if I use it, and if not, I'll declutter it. Now we have this one. This one I've almost decluttered many times in the past, but something always holds me back. It's got a lot of makeup caked in it. colors work well for me because they're purples. Again, I do use a lot of purples. Not sure that like the quality is so good. This one's just sort of chunking and flaking off. But I do know that I have used it in the past. And it also has this little lip palette thing. This I'm not inclined to use because this is so old that there's no way that this lip stuff, I'd want to put it on my lips. Though I do like those colors. And this blush is too light for me. So honestly, this is so old and I have so many better products now. I think, even though I just cleaned it, I think it is time to declutter this Plum Days Blinged